المشروع اللي حنحكي عنه اليوم it's concerning the senior project تبع computer science عامله اللي عنده والعنوان حيكون distributed computing وحالكم شو معناه نسك. بالأطلع أولا نحكي عن كيف الموضوع هذا كله بلش ليش أنا هون معكم وراح أحكي عن المشكلة لأنه أنا بدي إياكم تطلعوا على هالمشروع not as a regular fourth year project لأنه the way I see it إنه هلا computer science schools والعالم كله حتى إنه there is a problem إنه there is a disconnect there is a gap between training in schools and what the real workforce requires. Solution حيتمثل بشغلتين واحد اسمه open source و distributed computer ورح أشرح لكم شو هن أول وبعدين رح نحكي عن تفاصيل السينيور project. So I have a clear idea of what I want and it's a real-time syncing app and we'll go into details at the end of the speech. Okay, so how the whole thing started. العامل أنا ابن أخو العامل قال لي إنه في كان عنده طلاب حابين يتعلموا كيف يعملوا mobile development. They want to work on like an iOS project or an Android project, something that can hopefully make it to the iPhone App Store or the Android marketplace. So then I thought about it and I said maybe a better idea than to teach them how to do mobile is instead of giving them fish, teach them how to fish, right? Instead of teaching them mobile, teach them how to learn. And teach them how to learn any software project. It could be mobile, it could be a cloud project, it could be anything. And we know in Western software it's constantly changing. So, yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the problem. Real programming is not taught in schools. انتوا هلا بتدرسوا computer science, تاخذوا networking, تاخذوا operating systems, تاخذوا مثلا algorithms و data structures and so on. بس كمان بنفس الوقت بتصير كثير انه وطبعا بيعطيكم بروجيات وتشتغلوا مثلا 40 ساعة بالاسبوع على project and so on. So you get a snapshot of many different fields in computer science, but once you graduate and go to the real world, a lot of times people are surprised. They're like, I didn't think software development is like this, or مثلا it's too boring, or and there's this disconnect. And usually what happens is that people, it takes them maybe a year or two until they actually get up and running in the software development world. I have an example in my current company that I'm working in right now in Beirut. I have this friend of mine who graduated from AUB in their computer science school with distinction. He was one of the top students. وحتى he came in on a منحة basis, so he's a smart kid. But بعدين he started working in in a software development firm after he graduated. وقال لي إنه he hated it. He's like, this sucks. He couldn't handle it. He immediately switched to take an MBA, right? Because I'm like, so but weren't you doing computer science for the last 4 years? Yeah, I worked my way through. So I work in a team in the project, and they do most of the work, whatever, stuff like that. But the point is, he came to the outside world, and he was like, this is not what I want to do. And this is common. He graduated from the same school I graduated from, Waterloo in Canada, computer science. He graduated as a software engineer. He worked as a software engineer for 6 months, 1 year, and then he decided this is not what he wants, and now he moved on to business, MBA, the whole thing. But the point is, why does it take someone 4 years to realize that this is not what they want? Right? If you think that you're a business kind of guy, or you're not the kind of person who would be happy sitting in front of a monitor for 8 hours a day, you should probably find that out at the very beginning, rather than investing 4 years of your life, tens of thousands of dollars, and it's really a big wasted opportunity cost. So one of the points or the goals I'd like to achieve by this project or this course is that I want to give you guys a taste of real software development at this stage, before you graduate. And you guys are senior students, so it's your 4th year, and ideally, maybe in the future, we can push this even earlier. Okay. And also, this is one thing I noticed mostly in Lebanon. I've been in Lebanon for 7-8 months, and I worked in 2 Lebanese companies while I was here. And I noticed in the students here, like software developers here in Lebanon, they have a kind of limited vision of computer science. So most of these kids, if not all of them, they graduated with computer science degrees. But for example, things as simple as, for example, I want to do an application using command line, using shell script or something. They're like, no, and I want to use Microsoft Visual Basic IDE مثلا. Or for example, I teach them how to use Git, and we'll talk about Git in a second. And they're like, isn't there a GUI for that? I don't want to use a command line, you know. And this kind of attitude is not something, and if you say that in Google or Amazon or Microsoft, it's not, people will look at you as this guy is not really a software developer, right? And by the way, I work for Amazon in the States, so we'll talk about my background in a second, right? So for example, I only do Microsoft products, for example. When you apply for a job, they say, what's your experience? Well, I just know .NET and ADO and stuff. I'm not a Java person, I'm not a PHP person. So this kind of industry or company-specific skill set, this isn't, one of the things I want to teach in this course is to look beyond these kind of limitations. Because as a software developer, as a good software developer, you wanna just look at these languages and platforms simply as tools that you use or learn at will, right? And this mentality problem, so I'm still talking about post-graduation, there is a computer science mentality problem, is also shared by employers, right? So here in Lebanon also, I noticed in many occasions I saw companies where you have the founders of the company are smart guys who maybe studied انه درسوا برا بالخارج مثلا وعملوا فريم ورك كثير حلو وبعدين بلشوا يوظفوا عالم and كل ما وظفوا as they employ people they're improving the framework تمام but then the idea is كل ما تحسن الفريم ورك تبعهم كل ما هن يتمنوا انه الموظفين اللي عندهم تقل طموحهم يعني مثلا هلا الفريم ورك اول ما نحن وظفناكم كنا ندفعكم $1000 لانه الفريم ورك بعده ما قلع بعد سنه بعد ما الفريم ورك قلع راح ندفعكم $500. So this is kind of an inverse relationship يعني instead of an employer hoping انه الموظفين يكبروا ويتعلموا وينجحوا لا انه هلا عندي فريم ورك خلص انا بدي I want to limit my costs. So this kind of environment, it's understandable and in this kind of environment, excellent software students or software engineering students بيقولوا يا عم انا ما بدي اشتغل بدي هاجر بدي اسافر بدي اطلع برا بدي اروح اشتغل لجوجل مثلا. ف one of the goals of this course also انه بدي افرجيكم انه حتى وانتم بلبنان حتى انتم عايشين بهالواقع هيدا through distributed computing and open source you can work on exciting projects that really meets your ambitions. And this is why I'm here too. يعني أنا كنت بأمريكا وما عمري عشت بلبنان هلا حتى رجعت لهون it's my personal opinion. You don't have to believe this. But I think it's a mistake for anyone to leave their country. I think smart kids, smart people, there's a lot that they can contribute in Lebanon. And when you travel, when you go abroad, all your knowledge, all your wealth, you're taking it with you. And Lebanon is losing. And the most important asset of any country is its human capital. Right? So this is also one of the byproducts that I hope to achieve from this course. Okay, let's talk about the solution. Let's talk in a little bit more positive note. Let's talk about open source. Open source, maybe if you had this conversation 10 years ago, I would have to go and explain open source and the movement and even talk about the philosophical beginnings, the Free Software Foundation, Richard Stallman in the 80s and Shell and Linux and all that. But I think in 2012, this long introduction is not that necessary because now open source has gone mainstream. And half of us have Android, more than half of us. Linux is all over the place. Most of the websites, the tools we use open source extensively. But let's just talk briefly about open source. The open source idea is there are commercial solutions out there, but also you have excellent engineers who think the commercial solutions are not good enough for some of their problems. So they thought they would solve it themselves, and then this community emerged where people, smart engineers, started working together. And the result was software, صار عندكم code, anyone can look inside it, and anyone can change it, anyone can distribute it. هلا مثلا إذا بعطيكم Microsoft Windows, you pay a license fee, and you get the CD, you're not allowed, you cannot see the code. ما فيك تعدلها، ما فيك تغيرها، ما فيك تنسخها وتعطيها رفيقك، at least not legally مثلا. فهالlimitations منها موجودة بالopen source. تمام. But open source, so that's, I guess that's the definition of open source for now. Distributed computing, distributed computing إنه مثلا development اللي يكون موزع. هلا مثلا أنا هلا فيني أشتغل على project كنا عم نشتغل من طرابلس، وحدا عم يشتغل معي من فيينا، واحد عم يشتغل من نيويورك، واحد عم يشتغل من بيجينغ مثلا. فنحن even though we may not never meet, نحن using some tools which I'll show you shortly, we can work together, merge our code together, نطلع software, and a lot of the software is made that way. يعني هلا مثلا Stack Overflow itself, الويب سايت حلقنا عنه بعد شوي, it's made يعني هلا if you go to the website تبع Stack Overflow بتشوف التيم تبعهم المهندسين تبعهم, بتشوف انه واحد عايش مثلا بLA, واحد عايش بنيويورك, واحد عايش بباريس, تمام, وهول شغالين صار سنين شغالين مع بعض. يعني they're working on like excellent technology, that their product is really good, and they're getting paid well. But this is where we're going to talk about money. إنه هلا أنت مثلا, أنا هلا أول ما جيت لهون مثلا كنت عم بشتغل على أساس عم بشتغل لشركة كندية مثلا. And that's made possible. طبعا أكيد there is always a benefit to working in the same place, meeting face to face. But هلا technology has evolved so well, and using some tools, it kind of replaced those necessities and limitations. Okay. Okay. فهلا talking about some of the tools for distributed computing, في شغله اسمها Git. هلا هون انتم بتعرفوا شغله CVS, بتعرفوا CVS انتم ولا SVN, does that ring a bell? Git. Okay. فهلا خلينا نقول مثلا نحن هون عم نشتغل على بروجكت, تمام؟ وخلينا نقول نحن عامل هو الزبون تبعنا, تمام؟ فهلا انا بس let's say انا عم بشتغل على UI, the user interface. وواحد منكم عم يشتغل مثلا على networking aspect, واحد عم يشتغل مثلا على database, تمام, كل واحد له كود وكذا. هلا نحن عم نشتغل مع بعض, بدنا يعني هلا obviously at the end these components are part of a bigger whole, صح؟ فنحن بدنا نعرف كيف بدنا نجمع الكود تبعنا مع بعض. فهلا to address this problem, انه هلا الناس كيف بيعملوا بالاول, كان مثلا انا بروح انت بتعمل كوبي للكود تبعك تبعت لي على USB على الايميل, انا برجع بحطه وبركبه وبرجع بعمل كوبي لهول بعطيه لك كذا وكذا. بس بعدين وكل كوبي بعمل له مثلا تايم ستامب ولا ديت مثلا حتى اعرف اتذكر, او فيرجن نمبر او كذا. بس هيك طريقه فيها كثير مشاكل. يعني مثلا اذا ضاع الكوبي بكون كثير صعب انه الواحد يجمع الكود مع بعض. ف to address this issue, في شغله اسمها version control software. والفكره انه مثلا انت عندك سيرفر وكل واحد بيشتغل, بعمل انا كوميت للكود تبعي, ببعته على السيرفر, مثلا بترجع انت بتعملي لها داونلود, تجمعيها مع الكود تبعك, تمام. but it's a software that organizes this workflow. اول ما طلع كان في عندك شغلات مثل CVS, SVN وهيك, بس بعدين طلعت شغله جديده اللي هي اسمها Git, and Git will be a central part of this whole course if we decide to go forward. Git, الحلو بGit انه it's a version control software where مثلا it's made to support this principle, distributed computing. يعني هلا مثلا فيني اروح هلا على GitHub, تمام, وهلا ممكن باخر اللكتشر فينا نروح على GitHub actually on the internet وفرجيكم some examples. بس انا فيني اروح على GitHub ونزل component that Facebook made. Let's say a UI component for iOS. Facebook made and made it open source. But you'll see in GitHub, distributed computing and open source go very well together. مثلا Facebook or Apple or Amazon or Google مثلا, Google they have a lot of open source products. حتى Microsoft صراحة إنه مثلا they release this code to the public. إنه هلا نحن بما إنه هالكود ما بيتعلق by our core business, طبعا Facebook is not gonna release their core software to the world, doesn't make sense. بس أشياء متعلقة they put it on GitHub or public hosting websites. أنا هلا فيني أروح GitHub بعمل لك git clone, يعني بنزل الكود, بشوفه, بعدله, بغير فيه, بلعب فيه, برجع بقول له انا عملت هالتعديل مثلا, انا لاحظت كان في هالغلطه بالكود تبعكم, او انه في هالفيتشر انتم ما حطيتوه, انا هلا حطيته. فاذا بدكم ارجعوا وجيبوا الكود تبعي واجمعوه بالكود تبعكم. See what I mean? So this is distributed. أنا هنا قاعدين in Palo Alto, California, أنا هون بطرابلس. They don't care. Then it's code that matters. Okay? Yeah, GitHub. فمثلا Git is the software that enables this kind of interaction. GitHub is a website that hosts repositories. ولا شو يعني repository؟ فإنه أنا هلا مثلا عم بشتغل على project معين, بعمل له repository إنه مثلا a reference point that stores all this code. And every time I push code there,